AITA, for cutting off my best friend after our girls' trip to Ibiza, exposed a lie she'd been telling for years. I, 29F, have been best friends with Jenna, 30F, since college. We've traveled together before, never had any major issues, and always joked we'd still be taking girls' trips when we were 70. This year we booked a week in Ibiza, Spain. Nothing fancy, beaches, nightlife, boat tours, and way too much sangria. The first 2 days were amazing. But on day 3, things got weird. Jenna became obsessed with checking her phone. She'd disappear for 20 or 30 minutes at a time, saying she needed fresh air or wanted to call her mom. One evening, she suddenly canceled our dinner reservation because she wasn't feeling well. Instead, she left the apartment after I went to bed. I only know because I woke up around midnight and realized she was gone. She came back at almost 3 a.m. and claimed she'd just gone for a walk because she couldn't sleep. I didn't believe her, but I let it go. The next afternoon we were at a beach club when a man walked straight up to us. He smiled at Jenna and said, "So, are you finally going to tell your friend who I am?" Her face went completely white. She grabbed my arm, practically dragged me outside, and begged me not to listen to him. That obviously made me want to listen even more. After hours of arguing, she admitted the truth. She'd been dating this guy, Daniel, for almost 3 years. Not casually. Seriously. Apparently, they talked about moving in together. The reason she'd hidden him was because I'd always said long-distance relationships never work, and she thought I'd judge her. She insisted she'd planned to tell me eventually. I was hurt, mostly because she'd lied to my face for years. Every time she claimed she was visiting cousins in Europe. Every work conference. Every weekend she mysteriously disappeared. She'd actually been visiting him. I told her I needed time to process it. Honestly, I thought that was the end of the drama. Well, it wasn't. The next morning, Daniel messaged me on Instagram. I almost ignored it. Instead, I opened it. His first sentence was, "I don't think you know the person you've been defending all these years." I assumed he was angry after their fight. Then he started sending screenshots. Dozens of them. At first, they were just normal conversations about flights and future plans. Then I reached the messages where my name kept appearing. And I honestly felt sick. Jenna hadn't just kept Daniel a secret. She'd built an entire fake version of me. Whenever she canceled a trip to see him, she'd blame me. But not in a harmless way. She told him I was emotionally unstable. That I had panic attacks if she traveled. That I'd threatened to hurt myself if she ever moved abroad. She even claimed I'd once screamed at her for spending Christmas with her own family instead of me because I couldn't handle being alone. None of it was true. Not one word. As I kept reading, it got worse. She told him I was manipulative, possessive, and incapable of maintaining relationships. She said our other friends secretly avoided me because I was too exhausting. She even joked that she deserved a medal for putting up with me for over a decade. The cruelest part? Daniel believed every word. His parents believed it. His sister believed it. For nearly 3 years, an entire family thought I was this controlling, emotionally abusive friend who kept Jenna trapped in our hometown. I confronted Jenna as soon as she came back. She didn't deny any of it. She just sat there crying. She admitted it had started with one lie after canceling a visit, then another. Every excuse made her look like the loyal, self-sacrificing friend while making me look like a complete nightmare. Eventually, she couldn't stop because she'd have to admit she'd invented the whole story. That's when everything clicked. Whenever people I'd never met seemed strangely cold toward me. Whenever Jenna laughed and said, "They've heard so much about you," I always assumed she'd been saying nice things. Instead, she'd spent years turning me into the villain in her own life. I realized I hadn't just lost a best friend. I'd been unknowingly carrying the blame for every decision she was too afraid to own. I was furious, but I still wanted to hear it from her if it was really like that. At first, she just froze and avoided eye contact. She was not responding to my questions. Just sat in silence. Then I showed her all screenshots. She started crying again. Everything was truth. I finally asked her the one question that still didn't make sense. If you've spent years telling everyone I'm this controlling, manipulative person, why would you invite me on this trip? She stared at the floor for a long time before answering. Because Daniel had stopped believing her. After years of hearing how impossible I was, he finally said he wanted to meet me. He told her he couldn't understand how someone as awful as she described could still have so many close friends and a stable career. He said none of it added up. He'd started questioning everything she'd told him. So Jenna came up with one last plan. She invited me to Spain, hoping I'd accidentally prove her right. She wanted to introduce us, and she admitted she'd expected me to get jealous whenever she spent time with Daniel. She thought I'd complain that she was ignoring me. She thought I'd get irritated, start an argument, or demand we leave early. In her words, she believed that after spending a week together, Daniel would finally see what she had been dealing with for years. Instead, the exact opposite happened. Daniel told her I'd been nothing but patient, easygoing, and supportive. He was the one who noticed she kept disappearing, making excuses, and acting strangely. Meeting me didn't confirm her stories. It destroyed them. That's why he messaged me. Not because he wanted revenge. Because he realized I'd spent years being blamed for decisions I'd never even known existed. The entire trip had been one final attempt to keep a lie alive. Instead, it exposed every single one she'd been telling. That's when I knew there was nothing left to save. That's why I ended the friendship. Not because she had a secret boyfriend, but because for years, she'd protected her own image by destroying mine behind my back. Do you think I did the right thing? Drop down in the comments green heart if you agree with this decision, or red heart if you disagree. If you would like to hear more stories like this one, like and subscribe to my channel.